and marriage, love and marriage.
Hello, my name is Robbie. On here I'm Templar Knight. Every person who believes in God but does not go to church has a story why. But it's said that whenever two or more gather in God's name, that He is there. So this is church. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Tonight we are starting our new series, Bliss After the Bells, where we'll be spending hopefully around 3 to 4 weeks talking about the important impact of having God in your marriage and how to get Him there. Again, I'm saying hopefully 3 to 4 weeks because every time I plan a lesson, I normally end up going a lot longer than intended, but talking about God's importance in your marriage was just not something I felt comfortable tackling in 1 week. I wanted to split it up. So tonight we're going to start with, well, we'll start at the very beginning because it's a very good place to start. And I love that joke. But we're going to start with how you get to a marriage and what that all means. To begin with that, we're going to talk about love. And what is love? I mean, seriously, what is love? I wish there was a clean-cut definition. For those of you who know me well enough, you know that I'm not a big fan of that word. Because it means too many different things. And oftentimes, you don't know what. There are many different levels of love. And so that word always makes me feel uncomfortable because I don't interpret well how people mean it. Pull out my invisible can of Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew. When people say that, it makes sense. I love a rainy day. We talk about the things we love. I love a good video game. But to me, that's like bottom tier love. So we kick it up a notch. I love my friends. I love my family. I love you guys. Because you are here, my life is better. That's a level of love that I can say I feel for you all. A lot of streamers will say constantly that they love their viewers, and although I feel that way, I won't say it again. I don't like the word. I can say that I love my friends. I love the people I hang out with at this computer every night because my life is made better by your presence. If I were to lose that connection, there would be something missing that I would have to recover from. To me, that's a form of love. If we were to go to the dictionary, it says that love is an intense feeling or deep affection. So yeah, I love my Mountain Dew. I love you guys. But then we go one step higher. I love my wife. She's an amazing woman, and I have dedicated so much time and effort of my life into making our marriage work. But I never use that word with her because I don't feel comfortable with the meaning. That's one of my shortcomings that I wish I could get over. But I don't know if I ever will. If we were to go even a step higher, above my feelings for my wife, I love my Lord. Yes, I put my relationship with God above the relationship with my wife. He brought her to me. He's the reason I have this woman in my life. But first and foremost, I serve Him. There are times when it's difficult to think that way because I'm a good husband. My wife should be my biggest priority. But she can't be, because God has to be my biggest priority. And that's what this series is going to be about. Let's take it up even one tier higher. We've got love of Mountain Dew, love of friends and family members, love of your significant other, love for your Lord. One tier above that, God's love for us. In the Bible, it's called agape. Has a completely different word. So we've got love and we've got agape. Agape is the highest form of love. That is God's divine love. It is unconditional. It is endless. I'm not capable of that. I wish I was. I wish I was capable of saying that I can do unconditional love. But I'm not. I am human. I will fail. I'm not even capable of loving my God unconditionally. I cannot reciprocate God's love for me. And that's unfortunate. But there are times when for some reason I get this thought in my head that God let me down. And I get upset with Him. He didn't let me down. I let Him down. But for some reason it's easier for me to transfer blame to Him. There is one other type of love I'm going to talk about. And this is where it's going to become uncomfortable. But these are the 3 pillars to love in a marriage. Love for your spouse, love for the Lord, and making love. Very important part. Now, as I start turning red because I am phenomenally uncomfortable to discuss sex on stream in a Bible study, I'm going to lay out God's plan for marriage. So step 1. You find someone you're in love with. There's a common attraction. There's a sense of belonging. The feeling that this person makes your life better. And that grows. It starts out with a good old I love Mountain Dew style love. And it grows to where this person is now taking priority. You love them more than others. So what do? You go and you talk to the big man upstairs. You go to his house and you say, hey God, I love this person. I want to spend the rest of my life with them. I want to stand before you and I want to promise you that I will take care of them, that I will stand beside them in sickness and in health. All those good wedding vows. You go to God's house and you promise that to Him. Mind you, we also promise that to our spouses. I promised it to my wife. But I can break a promise to her. I try not to, but I could. I don't love her as much as I love God. I cannot break a promise to my Lord. He has that priority. If I'm going to take the effort to go to Him and promise to take care of this woman until death do us part, I'm going to mean that. It's not something to be taken lightly. I know we live in a society where Marriage isn't what it used to be or what it should be. But if more people put God at the top of their marriage, you'd be amazed the trend we would see. My wife and I have an awesome marriage. I don't think we've ever had to yell at each other. We hardly ever argue. We don't fight. We know how to handle our disagreements. We have a very phenomenal marriage. But that's not because of us. That's not because of the effort that we put into it. It's because we promised God to honor and respect this person. If my wife makes me upset, I can't lash out at her. Because I promised God I wouldn't. I promised my Lord I would take care of her. And what kind of man am I if I strike out against a woman who I promised to protect? Not just promised her I would protect her, I promised God I would protect her. That's what marriage is meant to be. To have the third person involved, that fallback that you can go to. Are things perfect between me and my wife? Most of the time, but not always. Not always. But we have God to get us through the hard times. To look over our own personal struggles, our own personal shortcomings and frustrations, and guide us through it. And that's what I'm hoping to teach this week, or this series. So, back to the triangle. We've met, we've fallen in love. We've gone to the Lord. We've made a promise, we've made a covenant, we have formed a bond. Now we have to go and consummate the marriage. Sex was designed to be between a husband and wife. For anyone who's familiar with it, sex is awesome. I mean, seriously. Awesome. And it was meant to be a searing fire to seal up that relationship, to finalize that bond so that nothing could break it. One of the problems we have with marriage nowadays is that people take sex too casually. They think, oh, I'm in love with this person, I'm interested in them. Skip the marriage, let's go try it out and see what happens. And they go and they create that spark. And I'm sure it's awesome. But there's nothing there to sustain it. So once the spark is gone, they're just relying on their feelings for each other, that love, to sustain them through. But what kind of love do they currently have? Is it a love for their Mountain Dew? Is it a love for their friend? Is it a love for that spark, that moment of passion? Because I've seen people build a marriage off of love and sex. When the love's not there, they rely on the sex to get them through. When the sex isn't there, they rely on the love to get them through. But they are missing a key component. And that's God. That is the agape, the love that we are not capable of, the love that can only come from God. Unconditional, highest form, divine love that only God can provide. That will sustain. That will endure. That is what you need for a solid, secure marriage. To understand that your marriage is not just about the two of you. Your marriage needs God to hold it together. Now, a lot of people, they make it work. They do just fine having a marriage without God a part of it. But why take the hard road? The path is so easy. Why not spend that time in joy, in agape? If you think your feelings for your wife, for your husband, for your significant other are powerful, if you think nothing can come between you, you're wrong. You may be very good at being married, but marriage requires God. It takes more than just love. It takes more than just sex. So why not strive to welcome God into your marriage? If anything, He's a great referee. You guys ever had that? You have a little argument and she's got to call her mom, you got to call the boys and say, look, this just happened, and you got to have someone to talk to. You need to vent it, let it out, get a third perspective as to, okay, who's right, who's wrong. Topic for a later date. Doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong. But sometimes we need that referee. We need that third party to get involved and say, okay, yep, I screwed up. That's my bad. So why not go to the guy that we've been talking about? The dude who does miracles. The guy who knows everything. Why not go to him? Ask him questions. He's got answers. I wish I could express how important it is to make God a part of your marriage. But again, I don't have the words. Your spouse loves you. But God has agape for you. Again, I have to keep using that word because I can't just say God loves you in this context, because, again, what is love? So I have to call it agape because it is the highest form. That's what God has for you. That's what God has for your spouse. Now imagine if the two of you both being loved by God like that were to try and share that with each other. What could your marriage be? I'm hoping we can find out.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.